Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got something a bit different today. I'm not going to be reviewing an optic. I'm not going to be torture testing an optic, but I'm going to be talking a bit about an optic that I did review and torture test. Now that's this GUNNR Odin 1:6x28. I recently did a torture test with this and I got what I thought was a fail. Now I subjected this thing to freezing and some submersion, had this thing in water for just about 2 full days. And that failure that I got with this GUNNR Odin, it really didn't resonate well with me because I really do like this optic. And I just gave some more thought to the specifications, the ratings and everything on this. And I got to looking at the shock rating, and one of the things that GUNNR puts in their specs is this IP67 rating that this thing is rated for. And I had to be honest with myself, I really don't know the standards. What is the IP67? What is the standard for that rating? And what is the shock and what is the level of abuse that is expected to actually handle? And did it really fail or not? So this is some piggyback content on that torture test for this GUNNR Odin, but it's not specifically talking about the GUNNR Odin. So IP67, what is that? Ingress protection. That's what the IP stands for. And, you know, without putting our thinking caps on, or you're not sitting in college and getting bored and swiping away from this content right away, it's basically what level of standard can this thing uphold, or not level of standard, but what level of intrusion can this thing keep out solid matter, dust, dirt, debris, and or liquid, in this case water. So IP67. So let me pull this up. I've got some cheat sheets for myself here, and don't claim to be an expert on this, but I am going to talk a bit about it so we got a better understanding on it. So there's two numbers here. There's the 6 and there's the 7. Now one of those numbers talks about the level of solid matter that this thing, or this thing, those things, what level of solid matter can they keep out? And the next number is what level of water material can they keep out? So let's see what we've got here. The first number is the solid material. So in the case of the GUNNR, this is a 67. So the 6. So the 6 is solids. There is a score from 1 all the way down to 6. And there's also an X. So if you're looking at something, you're looking at this IP rating, you can go from a 1 all the way to a 6 or with an X. This has a 6, which means dust tight, no ingress of dust. So what we're talking about is you're out in the field, pollen, dust, dirt, sand should not be able to get inside the optic. Now, I don't really know where they're talking about the actual seal. I don't have that much detail from these manufacturers, but I'm going to guess they're talking about inside the main moving parts and inside the sealed part. I don't think they're talking about, obviously, this Odin's got locking caps on it. In this little area here, I would think you can get dust in there. But I think we're talking about inside the main mechanism parts as well as the electronic parts. So that first number, 6, this thing has the highest rating as far as keeping solid matter out. Now, the next one on here, the liquids. Now that goes all the way up to an 8. Now this is rated at a 7. And what we have here for this 7 rating. Now I will put the things I'm reading, here they are. I'm putting those up on the screen so you guys can look at these. Now the 6, 7, so the 7 is for liquid. Protection against the effects of immersion in water between 1 centimeter and 1 meter for 30 minutes. All right, so there you have it, 30 minutes. Now, if you guys go back and you watch that submersion test, I had this thing in there for close to 2 days. In defense of GUNNR, this optic really did not, it failed, but it did not fail to their standard or their advertised standard. So this is hey, this is one of those humbling moments where my ignorance, I'm calling it a fail, It really didn't fail. Now, did it fail a torture test? Indeed, it did. You know, I do take these optics, and as I mentioned, I take these optics and I up it to a level that gets a bit ridiculous to see what is going to make them feel. How hard is that abuse going to really need to be to get a failure from these? We watch Joe over at Cyclops Joe, and he does the nipple twisters on these turrets and just spins the knots out of them like this. And you know, you could consider that torture testing, because that is above and beyond this rapid. These things aren't designed for this, but can they hold up to it? Yeah, in most cases they actually do. But IP67, getting back to that. So I think it's something that in the gun tubers, the scope tubers, the reviewers out there who are doing the same kind of content that I'm doing, I haven't seen anyone, and not to say it's not out there, but I haven't seen anybody specifically talking about this IP 67 rating. Now, I did a little bit of homework and I did a little bit of research and digging the best I could do, because as I said, this just did not resonate well with me with this Odin failing, because I do like this scope. But it appears that the 67 is a standard, as well as 65. Now that 5, if I go back and look at here in water protection, is water protection against jets of water. And what I can interpret that to mean is one of the lower optics. Now I've got this Cabela scope here. Now this is the Cabela's rimfire specific 3-9 by 40 22 long rifle scope. Now I don't know what this thing even sells for. I don't even know how I got it. Well, I should say I know where it came from, Cabela's. But an optic like this is a true entry-level scope, well beyond what I would classify or below even the budget class of scopes. But this is something that would be into that 5 class on that second number, meaning it's waterproof. You know, this thing, you could have it out squirrel hunting, it rains on it a little bit, and you're probably not going to get water or fogging inside of it. So it seems like IP65 is going to be real common, probably on your lower tier Asian optics, the things that are really cheap, you're going to get that 65, and anything up and above, you're going to get that 67. So, you know, right here, this is an Athlon scope, and this is the, which one do I have here? This is the Talos. So this is a pretty good scope. I like this thing. I reviewed it. It's got some things to it, you know, I'm not really too keen on. Hence, it's not mounted on anything. But this is to the level that I would also expect this to be an IP67 as far as keeping out the solid debris out of all these moving parts and water out of the scope. This same rating applies for electronic devices. So here I've got the DNT Thermite. If you look up the IP67 rating, you're going to see they use that rating a lot for computerized devices and electronics and everything as well. So, but back at it, hey, this is my brief bit of education for you guys on what the shock rating or the seal rating that the scope manufacturers are using. And it seems like IP67 is common, but many of the manufacturers really are not even advertising what standard they're using. So you might have to reach out to them and contact them. I do give the kudos out to GUNNR for advertising the standard that they're using, the type of aluminum that they're using, and the type of the glass that they're using on the Odin optics. And yeah, so the IP67 rating, the optics are going to be, in a quick review in a nutshell for you guys, these things are going to be waterproof, and they are going to be watertight to something that I would consider a realistic situation. If your firearm fell in the stream, you're crossing the stream, or your firearm was sitting in a snowbank long enough for you to get it and to find it, it is going to be functional, it's going to be useful, and you're not going to have any problems with water getting into the optic or even into the illuminated reticle type thing. Now, if you drop that rifle off the boat and you can't get to it for the next day because you got to get a metal detector and a hook or something, it's probably going to be ruined. So just realistically, it says 30 minutes in there, but I dunked this thing for that long and it was fine. So, hey, thanks for checking back into the channel. Hope you learned something about the ingress protection rating system that the optics companies are using. And if you know any of the ratings that any of the other brands, the big names are using, the Leupold's, the Vortex, the Night Force, what any of these guys are using, post it up in the comments for me and let me know. I'm sure that the other people watching this content really might be curious to, hey, is that $5,000 optic actually rated higher? Hey, maybe it is. I really don't know if, I don't know. I can't tell you. Or is it just the same as one of these at a 67? So thanks for checking back into the channel. Get your optics mounted up, get on out there and keep on shooting.